I know of people who have been living a life of hardship, often alone in their flat, for example. And the only fellowship and company they have is when perhaps they travel for a number of miles by perhaps several buses to a church fellowship or Christian group. Their lives are already tough and challenging, but to make things even worse and more testing, this coronavirus pandemic has now meant they can no longer travel to these places of refuge or a place of little comfort that they have now, because these things that just gave them that bit of extra comfort in their lonely lives has been snatched away by the lockdown of travel, apart from all necessary journeys. For these people, life is very hard, and I can only feel for their hardship at this time. We all know of such people, and it is our duty as Christians to help in some way these dear ones, maybe a phone call, or just being available to talk whenever they need to during these times of isolation. And for you folks that are in this situation, I just want to encourage you that the children of Israel, back in the tough times of Egypt, they were being beaten and cruelly treated by Pharaoh. And you know the story of those times and that, back with Moses and that. And they cried to the Lord for his mercy and his help. And God hears and answers prayer. And this is the fundamental promise of God, for his mercies are great, his tender mercies are everlasting and copious to his people. God had promised that if they prayed to him and began to seek his face, that he would hear and answer. Moses was sent to Egypt to tell the people that God had heard their prayers and had come down to deliver them through Moses. And what hope and encouragement these words must have given these people. Words that would have eased the pain of slavery they felt, the pain, the hope of a promise of a land flowing with milk and honey. But instead, these wonderful things happening, things just got worse. And if you read in Exodus chapter 5, verse 10, it says that the slave drivers and overseers went out and said to the people, "This is what Pharaoh says, I will not give you any more straw. Go and get your own straw wherever you can find it, but your quota mustn't be reduced." And these folks, these people were more and more distressed. And the slave drivers would say, "Why haven't you met your quota of bricks?" And of course, the obvious reason was they didn't have any straw. They had to get all this as well. And they got beaten and whipped even more. And Moses himself returned to the Lord. "Why, Lord? Why? Why are you doing this? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, there has been trouble to these people. You have not rescued them." Things got worse before they got better. Even Moses said, "Why, Lord?" And things have gotten worse, and people, they had suffered terribly, beaten more cruelly. And we know the outcome of the events. And we know in our lives, sometimes what we do have, what little comforts we have, what little hope we have, sometimes seems to be snatched away. But for now we read God's plan and reasons that are far above ours. Pharaoh meant it for evil, cruelty towards Israel, but God meant it for good. What seemed to be a curse would be turned into a blessing. The Lord allows us to go through these tough times that we may learn to trust in him and to know that he does love us and cares for us and has wonderful things planned for us. The Lord allows us to go through these tough times that we may learn to trust him and know that he does love us, care for us, and has wonderful things planned for our future. We must endure these testing times, and for now it's the coronavirus that forces us into isolation. There will be many more trials in our lives like these, and things will get worse times before they get better. But be assured the Lord will turn the curse into a blessing and will make this work for our good. And for you dear folks that are suffering out there, it's just got worse and worse for you. The Lord's going to turn it around and give you a wonderful blessing.